Hi, I'm Johnny Rivers, and thanks for joining us on Rock and Roll Profile.
Johnny Rivers' contribution to music in the 1960s California pop scene is legendary. Along with his own string of hits like Summer Rain, Memphis, and Poor Side of Town, he launched his own record label, discovered songwriter Jimmy Webb in the Fifth Dimension. He also became the first house band at LA's Whisky, later home for bands like The Doors and Buffalo Springfield.
We were like the hot thing in town prior to the opening of the Whisky, and we got approached on the idea. They said, if you'll sign with us, we'll take over this place and we'll call it the Whisky. And so I agreed to it. We just brought our following up from the other place, so it was a smash from opening night. The Secret Agent riff was the one that got all the guitar players started.
There's a man who leads a life of danger. Everyone he meets, he stays a stranger.
The Secret Agent Man's very popular, because the teenagers are into it as well, because it was an Austin Powers and Bowfinger, and that's probably my most famous song as far as a sound and a guitar riff and all of that stuff,
How can you tell me how?
The West Coast sound really, I would say, is the surf guitar stuff, Dick Dale and all of those guys, Pipeline, and of course the Beach Boys and Jan and Dean, and then there was a lot of R&B that came out of here as well. And I guess I fall into that, but my stuff again, like I said, is South Louisiana stuff that kind of combined with maybe a little bit of the West Coast, surf thing and whatever.
Oh, welcome back there to the Poor Side.
Long-distance information, get me Memphis, Tennessee.
Let me find a party that tried to get in touch with me. Yeah, she did not leave a number, but I know who placed the call. Cause my uncle took the message and he wrote it on the wall.
We recorded it at the Whisky, and then we took it in the studio and enhanced it with some extra hand clapping and stuff, because the mics that were out in the audience at the Whisky when we recorded it were not placed really well, and you didn't get much of the audience reaction. So we just kind of enhanced it, but it was recorded live at the Whisky. My contract with the company I was with, Imperial Records, had expired, and I was the hottest act on the label at the time, so they naturally wanted to re-sign me, and so I said, okay, I want to stay with the label, I'm real happy. But as part of my deal to re-sign, I also want my own record company, because I'd like to work with some other artists. And I think they kind of threw that to me as a bone, not thinking much would happen with it. And the first act we signed was the Fifth Dimension, and wound up producing Up, Up and Away. I had just hooked up with Jimmy Webb and signed him to my publishing company. And so he had written this song, Up, Up and Away, and it became Record of the Year and Song of the Year. We got 2 Grammys for it. I signed a guy named Al Wilson that had a couple of pretty good sized hits, and a writer named James Hendricks, who was part of the Mugwumps. He was one time he was married to Mama Cass, so he was part of the John Phillips New York folk crowd, and he wrote Summer Rain. Summer rain taps at my window, west wind soft as sweet dream. My love warm as the sunshine, sitting here by me. She's here by me.
Johnny has continued to tour and record through the years, including the popular Memphis Sun recordings.
So then I got the idea of maybe going in there back into that studio and recording a whole album as a tribute to the early Sun artists. Of course, Elvis, Jerry Lee Lewis, Johnny Cash, Carl Perkins. And Carl, by the way, was always one of my favorites, came down and actually played guitar on me singing some of his songs that he wrote in the original studio where he first recorded them. That was pretty thrilling.
Maybelline, can't you be true? Oh, Maybelline, can't you be true?
Because I was writing a lot of songs, but it just so happens that we picked out, or my producer and the record company would always pick songs off these albums that I didn't write. And it was a good choice because they were hits, But Poor Side of Town was proof that I could write a pretty good song. It was a #1 record, you know. So.
Oh, welcome back there to the Parside Town. I got the rock in the morning, in the boogie, walk up through on the
Well, actually, someone sent me a tape of his songs. As luck would have it, the last song on this tape was By the Time I Get to Phoenix. When I heard that song, I went, whoa, what a great song. So I called him and I said, hey, come on up here and let's get together. And so we went in the studio and I cut By the Time I Get to Phoenix. And I was in Poor Side of Town had just come off the charts from a #1 record. So we thought about releasing By the Time I Get to Phoenix as a follow-up, but we thought it sounded a little too much like Poor Side of Town. And so we put out Baby I Need Your Lovin' instead, which did very well. It was a big record. But I had this song and my album was getting ready to come out, and I knew this song was a hit. I just knew it in my spirit, you know. So I called Glenn Campbell's producer, and I said, you know, Glenn had just had a song called Gentle on My Mind, which was a semi-hit, got him on the charts. He met me down at my office, and I played him my test pressing of By the Time I Hit the Phoenix, which wasn't even out yet. And he went, whoa, that's great. So I gave him a copy of the test pressing, and about 2 weeks later, I hear Glenn Campbell's record on the radio. And it was his first #1 record, which was great. And it was great for Jimmy Webb, it was great for me because I published the song, and it became one of the most recorded songs of all time.
I'm the one he called the South Sun.
We tour constantly. We mainly work weekends, you know, Thursday through Sunday or something like that, or Friday and Saturday, and come back home. We don't stay on the road. And it's late at night, we're all alone. Just the music on the radio. No one's coming, no one's gone, a telephone. Just me and you and the lights down low. And we're slow dancing, swaying to the music. Slow dancing, just me and my girl. Slow dancing, swaying to the music. No one else in this whole wide world. Just you, girl. Jack Timchin and I, you know, Jack wrote Peaceful Easy Feeling and Already Gone, and wrote Slow Dancin' that I had a big hit with. And so he and I got back together and wrote some songs and came up with that album. We actually wrote Last Train to Memphis as sort of a tribute to Elvis. On the sunset, Mississippi cotton fields, Daddy's crying 'cause he can't pay these bills. Mama tells me it's gonna be alright. Just play that gospel music, we can make it through the night. Last train to Memphis keeps on calling me. The last train to Memphis could be the last chance to find my destiny. We played at the Whisky for their 35th anniversary. It sounded good, it felt good, you know, and it reminded me of the old days when we cut all those live albums there. And so that's when the idea hit me. I said, maybe we should come back in here after all these years, because all those old live albums did well, and a lot of those fans are still around and would probably enjoy something like this. So we, you know, we enhanced the band. Because in the old days it was just 3 pieces, you know, just a trio. But we brought in some extra players and had some guests come in and did a couple of acoustic numbers, and it actually came out very well. It's called Back at the Whisky, and it'll be, you know, around and part of our catalog.
Wasted and